So the Miami Dolphins season is completely over. They just lost to the Kansas City Chiefs 7-26. And Tua Tagovailoa is not the right quarterback for this team. Now, hear me out. Tua Tagovailoa has a lot of good numbers on the season. But in the last two seasons against teams that have went to the playoffs, he is 3-12. And this team only beat one team this season that had a above 500 record, and that was the Dallas Cowboys. Besides that, they lost to every team that was above 500, and it was not close football games. And the biggest moments this season and last season, Tua Tagovailoa did not come up big for this team, and there is no excuse for this. I understand on the defensive side that they had a lot of injuries. No Jalen Phillips, no Bradley Chubb, no Xavier Howard, but the defense was not the reason why they lost this game early on. Tua was not good enough for this team yet again. I understand you're playing the Kansas City Chiefs and it was the fourth coldest game in NFL history. I understand all of that. But when you look at Tua Tagovailoa for the entire season, he wasn't good against teams that were good. Against elite level competition, he's not a good quarterback with the talent that he has around him. It's not like the Dolphins are asking Tua to go out there and carry the team on his back. And if they did, they would not be a playoff team in general because he has weapons around him. Raheem Mostert had 18 rushing touchdowns this season for 1,012 rushing yards. He was very good. He averaged 5 yards a carry. And Devon Achane did miss time this season. 800 yards rushing, 8 rushing touchdowns. He averaged 8 yards a carry. Before he got injured with his knee, he was averaging 10 yards a carry, which is unheard of in the NFL. And you have Tyreek Hill. Every single year, he's putting up video game-esque numbers. This season, 1,799 receiving yards, 13 receiving touchdowns. And you have Jalen Waddle, who also eclipsed over 1,000 yards this season, and he was very productive with this team for 4 receiving touchdowns. And I understand that Tua has to throw these guys the football, but look at the system that he's in. It's a quarterback-friendly system. Mike McDaniel is a very good offensive coach with this team. Look at what happened last season against the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs. Skylar Thompson put up a lot of numbers and put up good plays with this team. And I'm not saying that Skylar Thompson is a better quarterback than Tua Tagovailoa because he's not. But Tua is not that franchise quarterback that the Miami Dolphins have been looking for since Dan Marino. You have the talent around Tua, and he constantly comes up short with this team. The offensive line was an issue in the past when he was suffering his concussions. It's no longer an issue. I'm looking at Tua right now. He does not have the arm talent, and he does not have the mobility to get out of space. Tua Tagovailoa suffered an injury a while back in college to where he had to basically go in there and fix his hip, and he hasn't been the same quarterback since then. Early on in his career, he had Brian Flores, who was not the biggest fan of him at the head coaching spot. But this is a different Miami Dolphins team. They have the right weapons around him, and they have the right coaching. It just comes down to Tua not being good enough with his arm. He has a lot of overthrows and a lot of underthrows when it matters the most. And against the blitz, Tua has been fine in the past, but against teams with a winning record, that's when he folds like a lawn chair. Tua Tagovailoa is holding this team back. Now, I do have a gripe to pick with Coach McDaniel. A couple of weeks ago when they lost to the Baltimore Ravens, Bradley Chubb is still in the game in garbage time. He tears his ACL. Why are we still having starters in the game when it's garbage time? And a lot of NFL head coaches do this. Pull the players out of the game. The game is over. Pull the guys. You're not going to come back and beat the Baltimore Ravens when you're down by that amount. You're down by 30-plus points, and it's only a couple of minutes left in the game. Take them out. He was too essential to lose. You already lost Jalen Phillips a couple of weeks ago against the New York Jets prior to him getting injured. And when you lose both of them, of course Patrick Mahomes is going to have all day in the pocket because Christian Wilkins is the only other guy that can go out there and can get the quarterback. And you have Jalen Ramsey, who is still a very good corner with this team, but no Xavier Howard. They were working on that third corner a lot tonight. And Rashee Rice went out there and he ate him up. I'm disappointed in the Miami Dolphins, not because of the injuries and not because of the weather conditions. It's the fact that you're in this situation to begin with. Why are you going out there and you're losing to the Buffalo Bills in the last game of the regular season when the division on the line? It should have never been like this to begin with. This team was a top team in the AFC for months, and you went on a losing streak to teams with a winning record. And it allowed the door to get open for the Buffalo Bills to come in and kick you in the face at home. And guess what the last play was for this team on the offense? Tua Tagovailoa throwing into double coverage, targeting Chase Claypool. Why are you throwing to Chase Claypool in double coverage with the division on the line? And it wasn't on Chase Claypool, even though he is still not a good wide receiver in the NFL. I'm disappointed in Tua Tagovailoa with this team, because they have the pieces around him. You have a good run game. You have amazing wide receiver production. You have a defense now that's being coached by Vic Fangio. They have done everything in the Tua era, and nothing is good enough because it has to be perfect. I compare this to the Jared Goff situation with the Detroit Lions. When they made that trade to go get Matthew Stafford, automatic Super Bowl. And I know it's not a quarterback out there that you can just go get and pull out the air and say, you know what, this is a guy that has a similar arm talent as Matt Stafford. Let's go get him. But one thing that I am worried about with Tua is the fact that his contract is due. And I hope this team does not go out there and pay him the same amount of money that Joe Burrow has been paid and Patrick Mahomes has been paid either. I really hope that. Because if they do, you just cost yourself in the next couple of years. Tua Tagovailoa is not good enough, and we've seen it in back-to-back years right now. And I understand the past, the concussions, but we've seen it this season. It was no reason for the Miami Dolphins not to go out there and win their division, because if they would have won their division, they would have had a home playoff game, and you wouldn't have to play the Kansas City Chiefs in negative weather. You would have been in a better situation playing in Miami. Instead, that was not the case. You let the division slip through your hands. Yet again, you let the Buffalo Bills come out on top because Josh Allen is a better quarterback than Tua Tagovailoa. That's the difference right there. The talent difference between the team is not all that night and day, because they were close in that game. The defense kept them in that game despite all their injuries. Vic Fangio's coming out there. He's blitzing a lot. He kept them in the game. And early on against the Kansas City Chiefs, you had a window to get into the game. And what does Tua do early in the game? He throws an interception across the middle of the field when the screenplay was already dead. Throw the football away. And another reason why Mike McDaniel calls a lot of screens with this team is because he knows Tua cannot consistently throw the ball down the field every single time. He'll do some plays here and there that make you shake your head and say, that's the Tua I know. And then the next thing you know, it's an underthrow that's going for an interception, or it's an overthrow because of miscommunication by Tua Tagovailoa. He's just not good enough with this team. He's going to put up good numbers like how he has this season with this team because he has a track team around him. But when they need him the most and when he needs to put the team on his back, he disappoints them like always. Tua Tagovailoa is not a bad quarterback in the NFL, but he's not a quarterback that's going to be the reason why you won or why you got to the Super Bowl. And Jared Goff was able to take the Rams to the Super Bowl. He was not good enough to win them a Super Bowl. And it's a situation the Dolphins are in right now. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you feel about this? Am I overreacting to one game, or is there some truth to this? If you like the video, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Most importantly, when each and every last one, guys, stay safe, stay positive. God bless. Peace.